the answer, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. That's illuminating. Further parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Can the Speaker advise me as to why the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Guthrie, was not recognized to call for the ayes and nays on the previous question related to the continuing resolution?
I can address the Speaker for that purpose. Hear any request for the ayes and
Did the gentleman...
For what purpose does the minority whip seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, did the gentleman from Kentucky make a request for the recorded vote? Because it's our understanding that he did make that request.
Hear any request for a recorded vote. We paused for a few seconds waiting for that to happen, and it did not happen.
But if the Speaker didn't hear the gentleman make the request, but the gentleman did in fact make the request, then can we reconsider the vote?
The chair did not hear the request, nor was it a timely request.
Then a parliamentary inquiry would be, can we make a motion to reconsider?
As I recall, Mr. Scalise, the motion to reconsider has already been laid on the table.
So is the Speaker saying that that motion would not be in order?
At this point, that motion is not in order. It has been laid on the table.
Mr. Scalise?
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does a court reporter have a record of Mr. Guthrie's statement? Can we have that read back, please?
Do you ask for recognition?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your parliamentary inquiry, please.
I would like to know if the court reporter has taken a transcript and recorded Mr. Guthrie's ask for a recorded vote.
The gentleman is authorized to consult the record in the regular course of your work.
If that record shows that he did ask that and it didn't get asked for a vote, is this vote null?
Chair has ruled on this matter, and again, I was awaiting a request for a recorded vote and did not hear one, and if one was made, it was not timely. North Carolina is recognized.
Speaker, I appeal the ruling of the chair.
The appeal is not in order at this time. The chair has already announced that votes have concluded. Members have left the floor and have returned to their offices. This is not in order.
I appeal the ruling of the chair again.
There's no appeal available in these proceedings at this time under these circumstances.
Unanimous consent to reconsider the motion that was laid on the table on House H.J. Res. 28.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I object.
Purpose is the gentleman from Maryland seek
I object.
recognition.
I'm not sure what's going on, but I object. What's the deal here? It's done.
The objection is heard. Are you? Purpose is the gentleman from Louisiana seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if that's a formal objection the way it was stated, but I would ask a parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Is there any formal motion that would be in order that would allow reconsideration of the vote on H.J. Res. 28?
Mr. Scalise, such a request could be achieved by unanimous consent.
Well then, Mr. Speaker, is there any procedural motion that doesn't require unanimous consent that would be in order to request the chair to reconsider H.J. Res. 28?
Not in a position, sir, to answer an advisory opinion at this time.
I would yield the chair as much time as possible to get an answer on that parliamentary inquiry.
Seek recognition.
Just seeking recognition to see if there was an answer to the parliamentary inquiry.
Again, Mr. Scalise, the gentleman can achieve this result by seeking unanimous consent from our colleagues.
And, Mr. Speaker, that recognition was sought.
Please.
Seek unanimous consent to reconsider the vote by which H.J. Res. 28 was passed.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Maryland seek recognition?
Speaker, the problem is, I understand there's a problem.
Does the gentleman reserve the right to
I
object?
reserve the right to object.
Nice.
And I intend to object. We have told all our people to go home. It's not just a question of being in their offices, with all due respect. They're on their way to their planes. It's far after the time when we usually leave on a go-away day, and I feel badly. I'm going to look at the TV. I don't frankly think, I was sitting right here, I didn't hear or see anybody asking for a recorded vote. And very frankly, you don't usually have to ask for a recorded vote, because when you were in the majority, it was always us that had to record the vote because we were losing. Frankly, I think that's what happened. I'll be very honest with you. But I would like to be able to correct this situation. But I cannot do that in good conscience when I know, because people have told me they had 130 planes and they are gone. And I feel badly about that, but that is the fact. And I don't think any games were played. And I'm going to look at the tape, because it's on television, and see. And I understand that probably most of you were not for the resolution that passed. We didn't stop anybody from asking for a vote, nor could we have stopped anybody from asking a vote. I was surprised that it went without a vote.
Would the gentleman yield?
Well, the Speaker and the parliamentarian indicate that the proper procedure was followed, but the vote was not asked for. And therefore, I feel badly about it, because I understand the problem you're in. But I have members who have left for the airports, and they're not going to be here, and they need the vote, if it was reconsidered, is equally important on our side as it is on your side. And I cannot expose my members to missing that vote, nor will I. And I apologize for that, but I hope you understand that given the situation, I cannot let my members be subjected to missing that vote, which is a very important vote for them.
Would the gentleman yield, because there is a possible solution to this?
And therefore, Mr. Whip, I will have to object.
But would the gentleman yield?
I will my objection is heard.
Objection is heard.
I will be glad. Ask unanimous consent to speak out of order for 1 minute.
Is recognized.
I yield to my friend, the minority whip.
And I appreciate the gentleman yielding, and I appreciate the fact that now there are a lot of members who have left the chamber, but at the same time, the gentleman from Kentucky did stand and ask for a recorded vote. Whether or not that was heard or not, we'll obviously have to watch the tape, but it's an important piece of legislation that members, I'm sure from both parties, would like to be recorded on, not just to have a voice vote, which we oppose to because it didn't reopen the government with border security, and obviously we're in the middle of negotiations that we're trying to resolve on that. However, there would be a motion that I believe, Mr. Speaker, would be in order that would resolve this for the time being while we make sure that everybody's got the opportunity to be back for the vote, and that would be to ask unanimous consent to vacate the previous vote and postpone reconsideration until we return next week. Would the gentleman be
the
open
right
to
to
that?
object?
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized on his time.
This is a very critical vote. The government is shut down. We think the government should not be shut down.
So do we.
And the gentleman says he doesn't think we should go home. Very frankly, there's nothing we can do, because the majority leader has said he will not do anything unless the President of the United States gives him leaves to do so. And the President of the United States wants to keep the government shut down. Ladies and gentlemen,
if I could ask the gentleman to
House
yield
to be in order.
I'm reserving my time. This was not a small vote. And I will tell you, had it been on our side, you would have heard us demand a vote. Now, I have a lot of people...
And we would have heard you and allowed the vote when we were in the majority. And we did, in fact, allow all of those votes.
We raised an objection at the proper time, and we got a vote. I understand that. I will tell you, and you know that, you look around the room. All of your members are not here. And like my members,
we'll
they
come
are
back
on the road going to a plane. And I regret that we are in this position.
Would the gentleman yield on that point?
Excuse me. I'll yield to my friend.
Clearly, there are members who have left. Clearly, there are members who are here. We can compel members to return if, in fact, it's agreed to have the vote now. But if it's not agreed to have the vote now, we do have within our purview, within the rules, the ability to delay the vote until members can come back that are not here. So for those of us who are here and want the vote, and for those who have left who would also like that vote, the majority does have it within their purview to work with us to agree by unanimous consent to vacate the previous vote and then bring it back for vote on the House floor when everybody can come back. And I do want to bring up the majority leader made a reference to the minority leader in terms of what we have been working with the White House on. The president has made it clear that he wants to negotiate, and the president's also made it clear
Mr.
what
Scalise,
he's willing to sign and not sign, but we have never said...
Retaining my time, we're going to have a colloquy in just a few minutes.
We will.
And we can go through that. The problem is, and I say this honestly, and I think most members know, if I thought you had asked for a vote and the speaker had not recognized that vote, I was sitting right here. I was not distracted, and I was surprised that a vote was not asked for, because I understand that most, if not all of you, were not for opening up the government. The fact of the matter is that a vote was not asked for. We have now gone through business, and we put ourselves in a very difficult position. But I cannot agree to a proposition where I have told members, no, you can go catch your plane. Some had 130s, and they left right at the dot of 1. I don't know whether they're going to make it. You know, we're in a bad situation, but I cannot agree to a unanimous consent that's going to require our members to come back from wherever they are, or I don't know that they're on planes yet, but they're going to be there on shortly. And both sides have that problem. I think you probably have that problem anyway. And very frankly, I am absolutely convinced the outcome would be no different. The problem is so many of your members wanted to vote against the proposition. I understand that. And I would like to give them that opportunity. I'm not in a position to do so.
But if I would ask the gentleman to yield, there would be an opportunity for you to do, in fact, that, and that would be a motion to vacate the previous vote and postpone reconsideration until next week so that members could be here and actually cast that vote in the chamber when everybody is back. That motion is in order. If the gentleman would not object to it, we could actually achieve that. And I yield.
I'm reclaiming my time. Mr. Speaker, we're going to be in session next week. We're going to be back here. It was a recess week. The reason it's not a recess week is because the government of the American people is shut down. We have tried now 9 times. This was the 9th time to open up the government. Nobody was surprised. Everybody knew. It was debated on the floor. I spoke on it for, I think, 8 or 9 minutes myself. So there was no confusion. Should not have been any confusion on the floor. And I think a vote should have been demanded. It was not. And I am not in a position to agree to a unanimous consent. But I am in the position to tell you there will be at least 2 or 3 votes next week on opening up the government. My presumption is those of you who have voted against such motions in the past will do so again. So it will not be as if you don't have an opportunity to vote on the same proposition. It was not a complicated proposition. And I regret, Mr. Speaker, that I'm not in a position to try to cure the failure, in my view, because I didn't hear it. And I was, as I say, sitting here, Mr. Whip, The Speaker obviously didn't hear it either. I am absolutely convinced that the judge would not have, if he'd heard a request, he would have honored that request for a vote. So we are where we are, and I would urge the members, clearly I will stipulate to the fact that almost all of you would have voted against the motion if a vote had been taken. And you can put that in the record. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Yields back. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess subject to the call of the chair.